All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Aquarium Online Academy here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. My name is Allie. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are going to be talking about a really cool subject. We are going to be talking all about sharks and their teeth. Before we get started, I do want to let you know that if you want to, you are totally welcome to text on in. You can participate in lots of different ways, talking to people next to you, just shouting out at the screen. But if you would like to, you can definitely text us. And that's this number right below here, 562-286-1838. You can text us any observations you would like, any comments, or any questions. Or maybe if you even want to tell us your favorite kind of shark, we'd love to hear from you. If you're watching this later after we're not live and still do have questions, well, that's okay too, because we have an email down here, and that's live@lbaop.org. So again, my friend Alicia is over here at the computer ready to take all of your texts. And my friend Kaya is behind the computer over here controlling all of the cool things you see behind me. Now, speaking of cool things you see behind me, this is actually a live webcam here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. It's outside right now, and this is our shark lagoon. Now you can watch this anytime on our website or explore.org, and it's pretty fun to look at because you never know exactly what you're going to see. So let's go ahead and make a few observations. What do you notice? Okay, I see a lot of almost looks like rocks. Do you see this rocks? Rocks a little bit. Also looks like there's some coral on top. Now, coral is a kind of animal. I know, believe it or not, that kind of looks like a rock. But this is actually all artificial coral. So this stuff isn't real right here, but it's meant to look like the natural habitat for some of our sharks in here. And what else do you notice? I notice some little fish. Do you see any little fish? Oh, here's one. Yeah, we have some unicorn fish. There's a variety of things in here. But most importantly for this topic today, I see some sharks. Does everyone else see these sharks here? Oh, of course, they just went away when I point them out. So go ahead and keep your eyes out on our Shark Lagoon webcam, and I want you to make some observations. How do you know it's a shark? What characteristics come to mind when you think of sharks? Well, one thing that comes to mind that I can see here is those fins. Do you see those fins on top? Oh, so they have actually 7 different fins that help them to swim. So they have the dorsal fins, which are on top. That helps them to balance through the water. They have 2 of those. They have their pectoral fins that help them to steer and move through the water. So actually, if we watch them swim for a moment, you're going to look at these pectoral fins, and I want you to observe, are they moving or are they just kind of staying the same? I know, of course, our sharks, right when we're trying to look at them, move out of the way. But those pectoral fins are staying kind of in the same place. They are to help them steer. And the rest of their fins are little, and they're kind of underneath. They're their pelvic and anal fins. And those help them for other balance reasons. So you can't quite see them quite as well. And then, of course, their tail. What do you notice about their tail? Is it moving up and down like a dolphin or a whale? No, it is actually moving side to side. So you will see you're using their tail side to side to push them through the water. Oh, we already have some text coming in. Hi, DVM Homeschool. Awesome. Welcome for joining us. They love hammerhead sharks. Awesome. I do too. Well, I hope we have time to look at one of my favorite hammerheads today because we do have one type of hammerhead here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. And if someone else notices fins. Yes, exactly. We just talked about those fins, how they have different... Oh, I want to point this out because that shark just came right on up to the camera there. And you could get a really good view of its fins a moment ago. So fins, that's a really great characteristic that kind of tell us, hey, that looks more like a shark than anything else. And then we have another question coming in. Are the sharks sleeping? Oh, that's a wonderful, wonderful question. So sometimes it's a little hard to tell if sharks are sleeping or not. Because guess what? Not all sharks just kind of lay down on the floor, tuck themselves in a nice seaweed blanket and go to sleep. No, sharks don't do that. Some sharks will rest on the bottom. Oh, there's a zebra shark over this way. Let's see. Maybe in the back here. Oh, right here. Yes, there's its head right here, and its tail's going that way. So this zebra shark is resting. Now, if we don't really know if it's sleeping per se, they don't have eyelids. So their eyes are always kind of open. But it could be just resting or it could be sleeping. So that's a really great question. The other ones, those swimming around, some of these are what's called a ram ventilator. That's a really big word. Don't worry about it. It really just means that they swim their entire life. Okay, so if they swim their entire life, how do they sleep? Well, they do something really cool. They can turn off parts of their brain. I know, I kind of wish I could do that if I'm like stuck in traffic or something, right? Well, they can turn off parts of their brain to let some of it rest while the other part is kind of looking out, kind of making sure they're moving through the water, don't bump into anything. And then they can switch. So their whole brain gets a little bit of rest, but it's not necessarily all at the right time, at the same time. So little difficult to answer if sharks are sleeping, but you can often see them resting, that is for sure. Oh, we have another question coming in. How many different breeds of sharks are there? How many different species? There's over 400. So we here at the aquarium have a lot of different species, but there are so many more. And guess what? We're still discovering new things all the time. Even recently, the scientists are discovering more and more different species of sharks. So who knows? You might be a scientist that discovers a shark one day. Who knows? All right, great observations, everyone. So another thing that makes a shark, I see, are their gills. So next time the sharks kind of swim on by, I want you to count how many gills that shark has. So it might be a little easier if we take a picture. We'll take a look at a picture. Perfect. Thank you, Miss Kaya. All right, this here is our leopard shark. We have it off our coast here in Southern California. And they have these gills. Now, gills help them to breathe, just like other fish underwater. Yes, sharks are fish, but sharks have, ready, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can't quite see it, but there's one right there, 5 gill slits. Now, most fish don't necessarily have that. Most fish, like this one right here, this is our marine state fish here in California. Do you just see that one gill opening, that one gill slit? Yeah, so they just have that one gill. That's pretty common for a lot of fish, but sharks, most of them, except for a couple, do have 5 gill slits. Now, that's another way you can tell that a shark is a shark. But what is another thing that you think of when you think of sharks? Teeth. Yeah, sharks have teeth. Now, they're not all the same because they don't eat all of the same things. So we're going to talk about that a little more today. But I want you also to kind of look at this shark right here. Go ahead and look at this coloration. What do you notice? If you were to just close your eyes and picture a shark, is this the first thing that would come to your mind? A lot of times, sharks are portrayed as kind of maybe a gray color, but I notice different colors on this shark. Do you notice any brown or black? Maybe some spots? Now, why in the world would a shark want to have maybe some of these spots? Well, let's go ahead and look at where the shark is. So what do you see around the shark? Do you see just open ocean or do you see other things nearby? Yep, I see a lot of rocks. Big rocks over here. So this is actually a form of camouflage. So they're blending in with their habitat, with their environment. And these sharks are one of those sharks, like our zebra shark we saw before, that can sit on the bottom. So if it sits on the bottom and it doesn't move too much, then it really just looks like another rock just sitting there. Oh, DVM homeschool. Do you have any basking sharks? Oh, that would be so cool. We do not. I'm not sure if there are any under human care. If there are, they need a really, really big area. These are very, very big sharks. They are one of the biggest. They can get to like 50 feet long, so they can get really big. But it would be really cool if we had one of these. Oh, and DVM Homeschool also says camouflage. They have bars and stripes. Great observations for our leopard shark here. Now, not all of our sharks look like a leopard shark, do they? No. So their coloration really does depend on their habitat. So we'll look at one more different coloration before we go ahead and talk about teeth a little bit here. And let's go ahead and look at this one right here. This is probably a lot of your favorite shark. This is the great white. All right, now what do you notice about the great white? Do you see any spots, stripes, brown coloration? I don't really see too much of that. Is there anything else you notice? It's a little hard to see in this picture, but I notice, thank you, Miss Kaya. Look at this. Now, do you notice anything? Do you notice there's kind of like a line right here, right down the middle of their body? And the top part, is it darker or lighter? It's darker, right? How about the underside right here? It's lighter. So this coloration of a shark is actually really common as well. And this is for a shark that more hangs out in the open water. Let's look around this shark. Do you see all those rocks like we saw before with our leopard shark? No, not as much, huh? So this shark's going to be swimming more in the open water, doesn't have anything to hide or blend into, so it has to think of another way to protect itself. And that is actually this coloration. It's called countershading. So how it works, if a predator or prey, for that matter, was swimming on top of the shark, pretend you're snorkeling and you're looking down, then that dark back of the shark blends in with the depths of the ocean. So if you're looking underneath them, let's pretend we're scuba diving, we're hanging out on the bottom of the ocean, we're looking up and we see a shark, but their belly is white. So that light belly is going to blend in with the sunlight coming in from above. Awesome. So we can tell that, there's about 400 different species of sharks. We're still finding new ones all the time. Do all of them look the same? No, they have different coloration, different patterns. They can be different sizes. Some sharks are only about this big. But that also means that I don't think that all of these sharks eat the same thing. Do you? Well, let's investigate that a little bit more. Let's start with this shark right here. This is the great white shark. Now, great white sharks can get to about 20 feet long. That's pretty big. We do not have one. Actually, no one has one under human care. These are all out in the ocean, but we do have them off the coast here in Southern California. Now, they have pretty big teeth, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at it. So I have a camera over here. Oops, this is not the one I wanted to show you, but I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Oop. There we go. All right, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to show you this tooth right here. Now, this is, here, I'll put it in my hand so you can see a little contrast better. Now, this is a great white shark tooth. So what do you notice about it? Well, it's pretty big. It has a very big base. So this is where the tooth connects to the shark's mouth. This is the part that's poking out. But let's get a closer look. All right, we're going to zoom in. Might take a second for the camera. Let's see. Oh, do you see that? What do you notice on the side of the tooth? All of these ridges. So those ridges, that has a fancy term, and that is called serrated. So kind of like a knife, if you think about it like that. So do sharks have forks and knives in the ocean? No, that would be pretty silly. They don't have those, but they have other ways of cutting up their food, just like this. So great whites are one of the sharks that has serrated edges, which means that it has like a little knife on the side. So what do you think, with big teeth like this shark might eat? Do you think it wants to eat something really hard? Do you think if I had a nice big hard shell and I chomp into it, do you think that's going to break something really hard? Maybe not. But if this tooth kind of chomped into a big hard shell, the shell might not break, but the tooth might, right? We don't want to break our teeth, and I bet sharks don't either. So I don't think they're going to eat something very hard. But again, it has such a big base. And this is a really good indicator of, again, what they eat. Just by looking at their teeth, we can tell what they're eating. So this shark here actually feeds on things like marine mammals, like a sea lion or a harbor seal, maybe even a dolphin or a whale. Yeah, so these are going to eat bigger animals that are a little tough to bite through. And they have those really, really big bottoms to try to anchor them into their mouth a little bit more. Now, sharks do lose a lot of teeth. So we're constantly picking up shark teeth here at the Aquarium of the Pacific because sharks can lose, are you ready for this? About 30,000 teeth in their lifetime. 30,000 teeth. Wow, that is a lot of teeth because, well, sharks, they don't have any bones. Well, how would that matter with teeth? Well, for us, our skeleton is made out of bone. So our teeth are kind of anchored in this really hard stuff here in our jaw. Sharks don't have that because they don't have any bones. Their whole skeleton is made out of cartilage, like our ears, like our nose. Now, our ears and our nose, are they harder or softer than like our bone on our arm? They're a lot softer, which means that those teeth aren't anchored in there quite as well. So when they bite into something, a lot of times they lose a tooth. But sharks have a really great adaptation for this, and that's that they have lots of rows of teeth. Do you want to see some rows of teeth? It's pretty cool. Let's go back over to my camera. All right, so we looked at this one here. Perfect. We looked at this one here, and that's just one tooth of a great white. But this is a juvenile great white jaw. And what do you notice? Let me turn down the light a little bit for better contrast. Oh, there you can see a little bit more. Well, it just looks like there's one row kind of on the top, but what happens if we flip it over? Oh, this is pretty cool. So if you notice, there are teeth sticking up, and it almost looks like there's rows bending backwards. So sharks have hundreds of teeth ready to go, pretty much lined up. So when a tooth falls out, the next one can come right back in. So we looked at great white shark teeth and how they have this big base and they're nice and pointy with that serrated edge. And that means that, again, they're not going to really eat something too hard. They're going to eat something like a marine mammal, like a sea lion. But do all sharks have this kind of teeth? Do all sharks have big teeth for that matter? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at a different kind of shark. Miss Kaya, maybe we can put up maybe a sand tiger shark. All right, so here is another shark. We do have one of these here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. And go ahead and make some observations. What do you notice? How is it different from the great white that we just saw? How is it similar? Well, I noticed that it has kind of that counter shading. Do you see that? Yeah, it has kind of that coloration. Oh, but what are these? Oh, it has some spots too. Yeah, very cool. So this shark right here, this shark has very sharp, pointy teeth, and they're nice and long. Oh my goodness, Miss Kaya found a great video of our sand tiger shark. So go ahead and look at its teeth. Now they are really long and really skinny. Okay, so let's think again about what this shark might eat, just based off of the really long and skinny teeth. Now they don't have as big of a base as the sand tiger, or sorry, as the great white shark. So, they might not be anchored in there quite as well. Let's see, but they're long and skinny. If I had a really long and skinny tooth, would I want to bite into something really hard like a shell? Probably not, right? We don't want to break our teeth. So this shark right here, just from looking at his teeth, we can tell that it feeds on slippery fish. Have you ever tried to catch a fish with your hands? And you're like, it's too slippery. It's hard to grab onto. But with these pointy, spiky little teeth, those are actually really handy to hang on to slippery fish. It kind of, how we compared the great white to a knife, the tooth? This is more like a fork. So I actually do have a jaw over here. It's not quite the same exact one, but they're very similar. So let's go ahead and take a look. So we have some shark teeth right here. And this is from a mako shark, and this is a real jaw. So this came from a real shark. So you might notice it's not the whole thing, and that is because cartilage, just like we talked about, that kind of softer stuff, kind of is breaks a lot more than a normal bone like we have would. So it's just part of the jaw. But what do you notice about their teeth? Yeah, they're long and pokey. So it's going to be really great for this shark to catch on to big slippery fish. And once they're in there, they can't really get out as much. And they're not really chewing their food as much as maybe another shark, because these pointy little teeth aren't really meant for that. So let's go ahead and look at another type. Oh, this is a great view. Wow, this is a great view of those teeth we saw just a moment ago. So again, this is a sand tiger shark, and we can actually tell a lot by the shape of their teeth. How cool is that? Oh, Becca, why do sharks have so many teeth? It's a great question. So we talked a little bit about how their skeleton is made out of cartilage and not bone. So their teeth, they fall out a lot. Now, it takes a while. Have you lost a tooth before? Maybe you have, and it takes a while for it to grow back in, huh? Well, sharks, they don't necessarily want to wait that long for another tooth to grow back in, so they have other teeth ready to take its place. So it's pretty awesome. Now, not all sharks use their teeth to eat, and hopefully we'll look at that one as well in a little bit here. So they could get by if they didn't have teeth to come on in, but most sharks do use their teeth for some sort of feeding. All right, let's go ahead and look at our zebra shark. Now, our zebra shark, I want you to make an observation about this shark. Does it look the same or different? Oh, so you can see our zebra shark up here. Oh, there it is. That's a good view. Well, hold on. Let's pause a second. Zebra shark? What do you think of when you think of zebra? I think of black and white stripes. Do you? Oh, that was our sand tiger shark eating. Ooh, this is a pretty cool. Whoa, look at that. Do you see how his teeth just kind of grabbed on? Pretty cool, huh? So, zebra sharks, did they have black and white stripes? Nope. And that's actually a little confusing, because when they're adults, like what we just saw, like this one over here, you might have noticed they had spots. Well, when they're born, they do have black and white stripes. As they get bigger and mature into adults, those stripes separate and separate and separate into little dots. So this one you can see here is kind of in an in-between phase. So you might notice there are still some stripes almost. See how those dots are kind of in a line? They're just starting to separate. So this is kind of an in-between phase, but when they are young, they truly do have black and white stripes. Now, this shark is one of the sharks that we noticed before that was resting on the bottom. Now, it spends a lot of time on the bottom, even so much so that its mouth is kind of right underneath it. So, okay, if its mouth is underneath it, could that tell us anything about what it might eat? Well, let's think about it. If it was swimming through the water, could it really go after, like this, after a marine mammal or maybe some fish? Not as easy, huh? So what this shark does, swims along the bottom, and they get things that live near the bottom of the ocean. They can get crustaceans or clams, things with hard shells, and they can break through the shell. Now, we looked at that great white tooth. That great white tooth would not be good to break through a shell. The sand tiger shark, way too skinny and pointy. So what would a tooth look like to be good to break through a shell? Let's think about it as when we're eating. If we were eating something really hard, would we bite it with the front of our teeth or the back of our teeth? Well, the front of the teeth, that might hurt. You might break a tooth, right? But the back of our teeth, the molars are nice and flat and wide. That is like our zebra shark jaw. So let's go ahead and check that out. Believe it or not, that big shark that's about 8 feet, this is their jaw. Yep. And they have tiny little teeth. We'll zoom in just a little bit on here. Do you see those tiny little ridges? Yep, these are shark teeth. Is that what you expected? No, not necessarily. So these sharks, instead of kind of chomping on to maybe a larger animal, they can take animals and grind them up. So it's kind of like our molars, how they can put them together and crush harder things. So, oh, yes, exactly. So DVM Homeschool said, well, if we were to eat something hard, we would use our back teeth. Great, great job. Oh, and I'm going to take a moment here while you look at this jaw here. Thomas, why do mako sharks have rows of bottom teeth? So they do have rows on both the top and the bottom. That is a really great observation. So when we looked at our jaw, here, I'll bring it on over here. You'll notice this is a juvenile great white shark. It does have teeth on the bottom and on the top. So all around. Now some sharks use different teeth on the bottom or the top for different purposes. For these are pretty similar on either side, but some sharks have maybe really pointy teeth on one side for catching things and then a little bit bigger teeth for cutting up things. So you're right. They might have different teeth on either side, but they do have them on the top and the bottom. That's a really great observation. Now let's go ahead and look at that zebra shark while we finish up here. Now this zebra shark has tiny, tiny little teeth to eat things that are harder. But I mentioned that or a couple sharks don't use their teeth in order to eat. Oh, our homeschoolers say those teeth are small. They are totally small. You're right. They're smaller than your teeth. And I'm going to end with one of the coolest sharks, in my opinion. It is the biggest shark. And they don't use their teeth in order to eat. Does anyone think they know what that might be? Similar to a basking shark that we talked about. It is a whale shark. This one right here. We said that great whites can get to around 20 feet. This shark can get to around 60 feet. Whoa, way bigger. And they have teeth, but oh, this is a great visualization. Perfect. So you can see this whale shark. If you take a bus and then a car and then another half a car, that's how big these animals are. They can be so big. And they have tiny little teeth. Actually have a jaw of a whale shark here. Do you see any teeth? It's a little hard. I'll put it under the microscope so you can see just a little bit better. But those little ridges right here, these little bumps, those are their teeth. So they actually don't really use their teeth in order to eat. So how might they eat? Well, they swim with their mouth open, just like this. Swim with their mouth open through the water. And the largest shark in the world feeds on plankton. Yeah, have you heard of that word before, plankton? Plankton are tiny animals or plants, but tiny animals that live in the water and kind of just float around. So they get sucked into the whale shark's mouth, and they use almost like a filter near their gills to kind of get all of that food on out of the water. So it's pretty cool that some sharks use their teeth for kind of slicing through things, some for catching onto things, whereas some for grinding, or they don't even use their teeth at all. So I had so much fun exploring with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. We will have more programming tomorrow, so hope to see you then, and have a great rest of your Monday.